Today, our topic is how to face death without fear. Death is something that every person will face, but it is also something that many people fear. This fear is natural because death is unknown, and we often fear what we do not understand. But fear of death can stop us from living fully. If we spend our lives afraid of death, we may miss the beauty and joy of the present moment. So, how can we face death without fear? The answer lies in understanding life, accepting what we cannot control, and finding meaning in our existence. Let us explore this step by step. First, we must understand that death is a part of life. Just as we are born, we will die. This is a fact that cannot be changed. Everything in nature has a cycle. Trees grow, flowers bloom, and then they wither. Animals are born, they live, and they die. This cycle is natural, and it is the same for humans. When we accept that death is a natural part of life, we can begin to see it as something normal rather than something to fear. This does not mean we should not care about life. In fact, it means the opposite. When we accept that life is temporary, we can appreciate it even more. The second step is to focus on what we can control. Often, fear comes from feeling helpless. We fear death because we cannot control when or how it will happen. But the truth is, there are many things in life we cannot control. We cannot control the weather, the actions of others, or the passage of time. What we can control is how we live our lives. We can choose to live with purpose, to be kind, to help others, and to make the most of every moment. When we focus on what we can control, we feel more empowered and less afraid. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us this lesson. The Stoics believe that we should focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not. They said that fear of death is a waste of energy because death is inevitable. Instead of fearing it, we should focus on living well. A Stoic philosopher named Epictetus once said, "Death is nothing terrible, but the fear of death is terrible." This means that death itself is not the problem. It is our fear of death that causes us pain. If we can let go of this fear, we can live more freely. Another way to face death without fear is to find meaning in life. When we have a sense of purpose, we feel more fulfilled and less afraid. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. In this book, he explains that even in the most difficult circumstances, people can find meaning in their lives. He believed that meaning comes from three things: creating work or doing something meaningful, experiencing love and connection with others, and finding courage in the face of suffering. When we have meaning in our lives, we feel less afraid of death because we know that our lives have value. For example, think about people who dedicate their lives to helping others, like doctors, teachers, or volunteers. They often face difficult situations, but they find meaning in their work. They know that what they do matters, and this gives them strength. Even if they know that life is short, they focus on making a difference while they can. This sense of purpose helps them face death without fear. Another important idea is to live in the present moment. Many people fear death because they worry about the future. They think about what will happen when they die, or they worry about losing the people they love. But when we focus too much on the future, we forget to enjoy the present. The present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. When we live in the present, we can appreciate the small joys of life: a beautiful sunset, a kind word from a friend, or a moment of laughter. Mindfulness, a practice that comes from Buddhism, teaches us to live in the present moment. It means paying attention to what is happening right now, without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we can let go of our fears about the future and focus on what is happening in the present. This helps us feel more calm and less afraid. Gratitude is another powerful tool for facing death without fear. When we are grateful for what we have, we feel more content and less afraid. Gratitude helps us focus on the positive things in life, even when things are difficult. For example, instead of fearing death, we can be grateful for the time we have with our loved ones. Instead of worrying about what we will lose, we can appreciate what we have right now. Gratitude shifts our focus from fear to appreciation, and this makes life more joyful. It is also important to think about our legacy. A legacy is what we leave behind after we die. It could be the way we have helped others, the memories we have created, or the work we have done. When we think about our legacy, we realize that our lives have an impact on the world. Even if we are gone, the things we have done will continue to influence others. This thought can give us comfort and help us face death without fear. For example, think about a teacher who has inspired hundreds of students. Even after the teacher is gone, the students will remember the lessons they learned and pass them on to others. This is a kind of immortality, not in the physical sense, but in the sense that our actions live on. Finally, we must remember that we are not alone. Many people have faced death before us, and many more will face it after us. Death is a shared human experience. When we think about this, we realize that we are part of something larger than ourselves. This can give us comfort and help us feel less afraid. In conclusion, facing death without fear is not easy, but it is possible. We can do this by accepting death as a natural part of life, focusing on what we can control, finding meaning in our lives, living in the present moment, practicing gratitude, thinking about our legacy, and remembering that we are not alone. When we do these things, we can live more fully and face death with courage. Remember, life is short, but it is also beautiful. Let us make the most of it while we can.